Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Hera's Life and Journey. If you're new here, I'm Hera. I'm a 26-year-old, lower income, and I make videos about my life, my hobbies, my journey, my debt repayment and savings journey, and anything I find interesting. If you've been here before, thank you so much. Ooh, today we're doing our debt repayment update. We've been, nervous. Okay, we've been doing pretty good. We're gonna go through our lessons together and go through our progress. So I use this tracker I got from Etsy to track everything and make sure I stay on top of things. And I believe you should be able to see it. Um, so we had a starting debt of 145,690. We paid off 9,896, including interest and all that stuff, and our current balance is here, 145,063 and 87 cents. The thing is, we've made progress, but it doesn't feel like that because of that current balance, and that's because of all of that interest. But the good news is our first credit card, which had a starting debt of $90, yay, it's completely paid off. We paid that off in the first month. The second credit card, which had a starting balance of 1,300, we paid off back in May, yay. And then our third credit card, which had a starting balance of 1,800, we paid off last month completely, which is great. We've been making extra payments. I've basically been putting my second check into my debts, and I make a monthly payment of 1,053 minimum, and that's a huge chunk of both my paychecks. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and the interest just is there. And with the student loan changes that were made, it's not helping. So this personal loan I took to help pay off stuff and then medical debt as well. So this personal loan, which actually is still medical debt, it's not in care credit. It was taken out of my SoFi. Has a balance of 3,186 now from 4,500, and without making extra payments, we'll pay this off by June 2026, but I'm definitely going to be making extra payments. So I'm hoping I can pay this off much earlier. And then we have our medical debt. This is with care credit. And we have a balance of 8,917 and 97 cents from $10,000. And I am doing the snowball method. So hopefully we'll be able to pay this off by 2027 earlier than August. We have our two student loan debts that are just there. First student loan. Wait, why is it? Yeah, it's crazy that interest is so high. No, the balance is higher than before because we haven't been making any payments. The starting debt was 48,000, but now it's at 48,817, and then the other debt had a starting balance of 80,000, but it's now at 84,142. It's crazy when debt grows, even when you're paying things off. But that's kind of how it works, and that's why I'm trying to go through this process. So just to look at that, those student loan debts have a 6% and 14%. This 80,000 was a private loan. Never take that. Don't do it. I do appreciate my higher education, but yeah, with this economy and things, it's just hard. But anyways, there's that. So I definitely, my student loan's gonna be there. I want to tackle my personal loan and my medical debt first. They also have a bit of a higher interest together in total than my student loan. So I'll do my student loan last. And yeah, just wanted to do this quick update. I don't really know what to say about this because I am doing what I can and I'm making progress. Um, Let me just close the ones we've paid off already. And we have four big debts remaining now. And the personal loan, we're definitely making progress. So hopefully by next year, maybe even earlier than June, we'll be able to pay this off, as well as our medical debt. And then we're going to go ahead and tackle our student loans. So that's where we are right now. We have our lessons here, kind of like what I did. Again, I'm not trying to tell anyone what to do. This is just kind of what I learned through this process, and maybe it'll be helpful for you learning from my mistakes. So, one thing I did is underestimate my budget to help lower my spending. And if I have any extra money, I put that into debt repayment. Um, so let's say for this week, right? We have 170 budgeted for savings, but we have $30 extra because we earned $30 more in our paycheck. That $30 immediately goes to debt repayment. Um, and I just make that chunk of payment. And then I try to lower my expenses as much as possible to put more money into debt repayment. Um, Before a debt is paid off, I try to give myself a reward amount that I can use for personal spending that I use my buffer for. So because I paid off the three credit cards, I was like, okay, then I can invest on my journaling, my planners. I can do that. And I have that budget set before I even pay it off. So those are the two things that work for me. And some lessons I learned while going through this and really being mindful of how I'm paying my debt off and spending. Do not add debt after a new debt is paid off. I have credit cards, but I make sure I have money in my bank to pay it off before I spend it. Like, I think there was one time when I didn't do that, which was for Ube's medical bill, and I just had to put in my credit card, and then I had to figure out and rearrange my budget to see what I can take out of so that I can remove that and pay it off. Um, Typo. Okay. Make sure that there's enough budgeted for allowance and buffer to prevent going over budget and adding debt. You don't want to, or I didn't want to be like zero for spending and then have nothing in my buffer and then want, you know, or need to buy like tissue paper. Then it's like, oh, what to do now? Um, and then next is tracking as soon as a transaction happens, whether it's income coming in, refunds, purchases, bills, so that nothing is ever lost. That's why I have my on the go planner have like an expense list. If anything's needed, if for some reason I don't have that, I have my phone to text to myself or to add in my notes app what I spent. And the last lesson is being kind to myself, be kind to yourself, because mistakes happens and sometimes impulse buying happens, overspending happens. As long as it's only once in a while and not a pattern and you learn from it, because we're only human. And it's also, our one life is short. And if you needed a coffee to survive through a 14-hour workday, yeah, I spend that money for coffee and then I'll rearrange my budget, and then I'll save. And the biggest thing that has worked for me is really cash stuffing. Without cash stuffing, this is the most I have paid off debt so quickly as well and saved savings while being able to spend on things mindfully. And cash stuffing is the reason why that's possible. I know I want to make my videos, right? I want to stuff with everyone on stuff and then go through that budget. And because it's there, I don't want to disappoint myself not being able to have anything to show for that week, and then everyone else as well who's rooting for me, right? And so these stuffing envelopes binders have been the biggest blessing for me tackling this journey. And I started with 7 debts. I'm down to 4. They're 4 big ones, but we're gonna make progress. So that's really it. I just wanted to share that quick update. It's we're working as hard as we can and we're making progress. So on to the next two big debts, and I'll be back with another update by the end of the year. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is probably just a quick video. I really do appreciate your support. I am a big advocate for everyone doing stuffing. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how your own journey is going, whether that's saving, debt, or whatnot. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye.